Dun 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 dun. Gay stuff's happening today. We're gonna do some gay stuffs every way. Like any kind of gay that you might know. A queer and a very friendly homo. It's gay stuff with Madame Muskew and the Grand Arbiter and extra special guest Amanda from Yesterqueers. And of course, amazing writer David R. Slayton.
I don't think I'd heard the theme song before. That's amazing.
I wasn't aware there was a theme song.
Okay, just so we're clear, I am contractually
Every time.
I am contractually obligated to sing a bad, terribly created theme song every time, lest I be struck down by the gods of bad television.
That's
correct.
I have no.
Welcome, one and all. It is I, your humble, except not so humble because we kill the humbleness inside us. We are my confident, strong, appropriately sized ego, Grand Arbiter, and of course, Madame Askew, your brilliant seamstress to the stars, international award winner seamstress, and known book slut, Madame Askew.
That's correct. That's correct.
Askew, it's been a hell of a week. It's shocking that we're even doing a show tonight after the trials, tribulations, and adventures of Compossible. And
I loved it.
And the sudden reveal that it is the last Wild Wild West Con. Just many things are happening, but we had to throw together a romantic, sexually driven, appropriately horny, but just appropriate enough discussion of queer romance with some of our very dear friends that we have collected over our time.
Oh my gosh, Grand Arbiter, I'm so happy to welcome back Amanda from Yesterqueers and David Slayton. Thank you both so much for joining us. It's so lovely to see you again.
Thanks for having us.
Well,
welcome.
We are just so excited to be able to talk to you. We don't get to have guests with your aptitude all the time, and so we're very delighted. You both have some important skills in queer romancing and enjoying romancing the queers, as it were.
I do enjoy romancing the queers. It's true.
I also enjoy that. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan and exceptionally good at it.
Side. Do you have a spot in my heart forever for Romancing the Stone? It does not necessarily age well, but I still love it. But now I want a reboot that's Romancing the Queers. Or maybe I just want a television show so we can just sit around and drink hot beverages and talk about how we're not going on dates.
The way I would devour a sapphic-centered pulp adventure show like Laura Croft, but she's a homo, the way I would consume that.
I mean, look, what if it's still Romancing the Stone, but we're just talking about a stone top?
Ooh!
Yes.
Romancing the Stone Top.
There you go.
I mean, that sounds absolutely delightful. Oh my gosh. Oh.
I'm literally going to text my friend Barbara Enright and tell her to write that.
Yes, please. Yes, please. So I can read it.
She's the queen of sapphic sci-fi fantasy, so I like.
Sign me up, please. Yes. How do I get on the ARC list for that?
Yeah.
So, do you think the Indiana Jones analog for this sapphic stone top would be like Colorado Jameson? I could see a they/them stone top named Colorado Jameson. I could see that today.
Absolutely, yes.
I pitched like what is the Lawrence Croft? There's like the really buff male version of Laura out there on the internet. I kind of pitched a book like that. It did not go, but I tried.
Oh, I would read that.
A hot antiquities thief and a book nerd falling in love as they chase an ancient mystery across Italy.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
Isn't that basically the Mummy?
Yes, it was very mummy coated, but in Italy.
Perfect.
Okay. And somehow gayer.
Madame Askew is totally consumed. What'd you say?
shit. Why did they? I mean, I want to talk to a manager.
That book was not greenlit. It's true. That does seem like a crime.
Yes,
It'll happen.
absolutely.
It'll happen someday.
Fingers crossed.
Oh no, she's
We just like jumped right into the conversation. Welcome all our friends. We are so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us. And yes, now we all want that book, David.
Madam, just as a word of
Yes.
warning, please
Yes.
remember if you get too excited, your microphone will die, and then we will not hear you.
Does her microphone have a sensitive constitution?
It does.
Yeah.
She's sensitive.
Does it need a fainting couch?
Oh,
Yes,
it's so cute. Like a little fainting couch, like microphone holder.
Some microphones have pop screens. Mine needs a fainting couch. And you know, it's a nice microphone, but I'm a lyric soprano, and sometimes it just cannot cope with my higher registers. So I have to pretend like I have like a mezzo soprano speaking voice. It's very awesome.
I think that what's happening, our guess, my guess from my many studies of sound dynamics and technology is that it's reading Madame Askew's shrieks as a fire alarm or another siren going off, and it's muting it for the comfort of others.
That's the mezzo soprano effect.
I feel red to filth by
She's
my
got
microphone.
mezzoed up. So, Madam, you put this together. You put this coterie of queerness together to discuss.
Ooh, that's a good band name.
Oh yes, coterie of queerness. Write it down. I feel like it's Colorado Jameson and the coterie of queerness.
Yes.
Look, we have a title, we have an author, we have possibility. I'm very excited. Also, I don't want to read anyone to filth about this, but I've read some very bad romances set on archaeological dig sites, and so they were all heteronormative. I feel like it's time for good romances that are queer set at dig sites.
We can have a bad
I
one.
also
That'd
think
be
that's more
fun.
statistically accurate, is my suspicion. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know that many straight girls that are into like digging up pottery shards. I know they're out there, but like I just don't know that many.
Gail
Madam,
Martin, who
you
writes
brought
as
together
Morgan Bryce, has some.
Ooh.
So Gail Martin writes as Morgan Bryce, and she has a whole line, and she has like a queer take on the Wild Wild West. She has the Witchbane series.
Oh, that I have read.
Yeah, but she does have some that are like treasure hunters. So yeah, look for Morgan Bryce. She's got some stuff.
Thank you, David. I, being an old person, am writing this down longhand. So I will remember
write
it.
lots of things down longhand because it stays better in my brain that way than if I type it somewhere.
Yes, it's like a kinetic thing.
Okay.
So
if we're done talking about how we're all aging, Madame Askew, you brought together this coterie of queerness to discuss the love, appreciation, maybe some criticism or conversation regarding queer romance as concepts. And this is media. We're going to say this is media blind. It's books, it's TVs, it's movies, it's stage plays, it's audio dramas, a lot of it.
everything.
The
so
famous audio plays.
I shared this before we got started. For those who do not know, Amanda has this wonderful online presence with Yesterqueers, does all these fantastic videos, and I've been obsessed for years now. I don't know if you have a fan club, but I would join. And
I think you're the president at this point. I think you're the president.
I'm happy to be the president. I'm honored and delighted. So I think some people might have heard of this show. It's taken the internet by storm. A lot of people are very excited. It's called Heated Rivalry, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Even say it's good, and did they like it? I might be one of those people, in fact. But there's been like this really complicated sort of reaction to this show, and you touched on that recently in one of your videos, and I was so excited because I had no idea that this phenomenon was happening, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
what is going? We can all like this. We can all like this thing. I am so confused by this conversation. And then I was like, wait a minute, we have a show. We can just have you on here, and then we can all talk about all the things. So first of all, thank you again for inspiring me. Secondly, let's kick it off. David, have you watched Heated Rivalry? I'm assuming you're familiar with it.
I'm very familiar with it, and of course, I've seen all of Amanda's stuff on it because I'm an Amanda mega fan.
Oh,
does that make you the vice president?
yes.
I don't know what that makes me, but yeah, when Amanda and I first connected, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I had a very loud squeak.
Meanwhile, I was fangirling out because I love David's books, and I was like, "What do you mean you know who I am?"
This feels. Do you know what this feels like? This feels like when we met Gail for the first time, and I was completely unmoved. I continue to be unflummoxed.
Yeah.
The first time I met
cooler than
Gail,
all of us.
the first time I met Gail, I literally I was sitting next to her at a writing conference, and I said to her very calmly and properly, I said, I just want you to know that while I'm going to do my best to be calm and professional during this lunch, inside I'm squealing very loudly.
It's a very funny story that we can share with you at some point about my. At some point, I got too high on philosophy and then killed hero worship deep in my soul. I don't know what happened. Now everybody's cool and I love everybody.
I sat down next to her, not knowing who she was, and then I looked because I heard her back was to me, and I said, "Oh, you're Gail Carragher." Said, yes, I am. So,
Yes,
and now we're friends.
So you have consumed much of the Heated Rivalry.
Yes,
I have not. I know the worst, longest answer to this question. I have consumed a lot of the discourse around it. I have to admit, some of the toxic fan behavior has put me off, especially everything about Francois, who's out and I've
that
always
man has my sword. I will fight anyone coming for him.
Same. And the whole thing about calling him a groomer over an unsubstantiated relationship with Connor, who is 25, who has grown. So I have a thing too, that when something is too big, I won't watch it or interface with it while it's really huge. So I'll probably watch it in like 2 years and then get back to you and be like, oh, it was amazing, or whatever my thoughts were. So
You can watch it before the second season comes out, because that's 2027, I think. So
Yes. Now, I know I'm going to speak briefly for the Grand Arbiter until he jumps back in. But I know the Grand Arbiter has not watched it either, but for different reasons than yours, David. Yeah.
So I have made a sort of pact with myself that I can't watch Heated Rivalry when I'm not getting visitors on a regular basis. I'll be too heated. The rivalry will be too heated, and that would be bad for my spirit. But this is actually true for me for all romance for the most part. I do not consume romance books, like specifically the genre of romance, at all, almost entirely. And the reason for that is actually kind of one of the more interesting conversations I've had, which is I find it to be too I find it to be a little too ungrounded, not because it's a wish fulfillment that can never be. And so it is too hard for me to because it's fantasy. It's a kind of fantasy. And so that is very hard for me to engage with, because I know that these things are not real, but also there's a part of me that wants that kind of romance. And that is not a realistic expectation to have in life. And so, at least for like the kinds of extreme highs and intensities that romance novels manifest.
Right.
But
It would
it
probably not
doesn't,
be great in the real world, by the way. Like
no,
living like that would probably not be great.
Because like for me, when I'm reading about, when I read queer media, I tend to read ones that are less romance driven, and more like queerness is a key part of all these characters, but it's more about an esoteric conversation about queerness and less about their romance to each other. It's queerness as a community experience. But I don't feel the same way about sapphic romances. So I read all sorts of sapphic romance novels.
Interesting.
So like all my favorite webcomics and comic books are all sapphic romances. So I've read a bunch of like really great webtoons and great stories about sapphic romances and sapphic triads and sapphics, because that kind of romance feels like cathartic in a way that and stuff will leave me feeling FOMO.
It's very funny because I know a lot of people who didn't or don't engage with Heartstopper for a similar reason, because it presents an idealized youth that they can never have. And so they find it kind of almost traumatic, like to say.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think this is fascinating, especially in the context of romance, because many people talk about self-insertion romance as an experience, like people are reading it to insert themselves into the characters. And there's a lot of what I'd call sort of gross conversation around like how women are consuming romance because either they're lonely, spinsters living with cats, and they will never know love, and so they're just reading romance, or it's just purient, and they're just getting out and getting all of their titillating thoughts onto the page. I'm like, it's probably a lot more complicated than that.
The Guardian literally published an article like today or yesterday with a headline that was something like, "Is romanticy making women dumber?" Like,
are we allowed to cuss on this?
Yeah. Yes, we are. Today it's allowed.
Fuck that. But so
just saying the quiet part out loud, basically.
If romance vanished tomorrow, publishing would cease to exist. It's 60% of the book is 60% of the book market, and a lot of it's gone independent in the last few years. So yeah, I have stats on that, but basically that's just the whole stigma against romance in general. Just to me is always just misogyny. Like that is its primary source.
I think that's part of it. I also think part of the framework that I keep seeing with, at least in terms of like the way it's being engaged with, is sort of like, it's a different kind, like so much about like, there's all these different kinds of, there's a way in which we are seeing the romance world collide with reality in a way that it has not historically done so. And in the sense that like, I sort of describe it as like, we've sort of like opened the container and it is way more present than it has ever been on the main stage. And I think that is putting it under like a really harsh critical lens.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's just changed form, because what it used to be on the main stage was like rom-coms. And the last time
I think what I mean is specifically this sort of erotic form romance, the way that it has really blossomed onto the forefront of like, we're seeing these kinds of books sort of like be picked up and written by like mainstream authors as well as
me too,
as well as our indies. It's a very interesting, I think we're in an interesting time for romance as a novel, because it's a lot, what I mean is more like a lot of things that were contained within the sort of romance world are now getting contact with the like with the normie world. I don't know how, I'm running out of
time. I think that's what happened with Heated Rivalry, right? Like Heated Rivalry broke containment. It was already a very popular book and book series. And the television adaptation has absolutely broken containment, which is, I think, why we're also having this hugely like toxic parasocial portion of the fandom that does not know how to behave, because these aren't people who have been in fan spaces. Like, all of us are fans in addition to being professionals, and like we just sort of know the rules of like how to be a fan of something and how to not be a flippin' weirdo about things. And so I think that's part of the problem with Heated Rivalry, is that this fandom broke containment, and sort of all of the impassioned devotion that people have to these characters collided with this really invasive parasocial sort of like tabloid culture that we've been growing for the last 15 or 20 years. And it just created, in one section of the fandom, hashtag not all fans, a really, really awful soup of terribleness.
Yeah. And I think that there's like lines in the sand where we could have seen this as like, because we've had like cracks in containment recently. Like, I would argue that like Manosque, I don't remember the names of all these books because I am beautiful face.
You're very pretty.
The Dragon Riders series.
Fourth Wing.
Fourth Wing is like a crack in that containment, I believe. Like, we're seeing like a lot of these, like a Court of Thorn and Roses is a crack.
Yeah, I think that. Well, actually, I think Twilight was the first one that.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
And just flung the door open for this like kind of weird. This weird part of the fandom that is so entitled.
Do you think that part of this is the way in which it's like there's a fan culture and then there's people who are fans?
Yeah.
And do you think this is like a real result of like fan culture without context? Because I think that one of the biggest things that I'm seeing out of the conversations regarding this piece and other pieces about romance is that romance has been taken out of its context and out of the nuance that is involved in that conversation, and now is like open air being exposed to the elements with no real like understanding of the history of the genre.
Yeah, I definitely think that's part of it. Although, I think most of us are old enough to remember when Fabio broke containment and was suddenly everywhere because he was the cover of every like bodice ripper in the like 80s and early 90s. So like, I don't think this is necessarily the first time it's happened, but it is the first time it has happened. Social media became this much of a pillar of fandom / people who are fans of things.
Well, and it gives you a sense. I mean, it's that parasocial thing, right? People have this sense of like ownership and personal connection, and mixed in with that, I think, is this thing going on right now where people feel like they're looking for a safe place to love the thing they love, and they can confuse safety and get it mixed up with gatekeeping. And I am looking at a certain type of lady fan of things like Heated Rivalry. Not all lady fans, obviously, but there is a certain type of lady fan. And when you talked about this, Amanda, I am fairly certain I spit my tea across the room because the idea that anyone would say queer men are not welcome to be fans of the books about queer men's romance.
Yeah, I responded to a woman who I genuinely think she was trying to work through some stuff. I think she was asking the wrong questions, which is why I responded. And, her sort of the point that she was trying to like work through on TikTok is that she believed Heated Rivalry was about queer men, but was created for straight women. And I think there's a case to be made for the book itself was like marketed largely to straight women because straight women are the largest consumers of romance of all genres, whether it's MF, whatever, like straight women are the largest consumers. So I think there's a case to be made that the book was written or not was written for, but was marketed to straight women, like, sure. The series is written and directed by a gay man, has a crew made up of huge numbers of queer people, and has at least one out queer cast member. So it is a very different beast from
Yes.
the book.
Yes.
And I think
Yeah.
a lot of the things, because I've read the book and watched the series, and I think one of the things that straight women in particular were not clocking in the series is all of the changes from the book were very queer changes, were moments that Jacob Tierney put in based on his experience as a gay man. Like those moments were for us, and like other people can enjoy them. But that scene, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, but that scene between Shane and his mother does not exist in the book. That came entirely out of Jacob Tierney's brain, you know?
And you can see a similar parallel with Red, White, and Royal Blue, where I felt like Greg Berlanti in the film adaptation took out or scrubbed away some of the more problematic elements about the book that really bugged me. And
Same.
so I was but at some point we do have to talk about the heated rivalry to Letterkenny Pipeline, because that is amazing.
I think the reverse is so funny. It's just so funny that people are like, wait a minute, this is the guy who also made Letterkenny? And I'm like, yes, and he plays the anti-gay pastor who is very clearly gay.
No, you had to tell me that. I had idea.
I had to bring Madame Askew to the light.
I do want to talk. Well, I want to talk about 1,000,001 things, to be honest. But as we're talking about heated rivalry, can we talk about Francois for a moment?
Yes.
And or maybe
I will fight anyone.
Look,
Here's
Same.
the
I'm with
thing.
you.
I have many thoughts on Francois. First of all, the fact that Francois is a bisexual man, he already is like on a different slope than if he were a gay man, right? Because there is a certain bigoted belief about bisexual men that is very different from how people feel about gay men. He is the only out member of that cast, possibly the only queer member of that cast. We don't know. And so all of this vitriol that is coming to him is all homophobia and biphobia. That's all it is. And I said on Threads the other day with a little soupçon of ageism, just for fun. Because I don't know what's going on between Francois and Connor. I don't care. It's none of my business. Here's two things I know. One, Connor is 25 years old. That man is an adult. And two, the power dynamics in queer relationships, especially between men, are very different. A 40-year-old man and a 25-year-old man is a very, very different thing than a 40-year-old man and a 25-year-old woman.
I think that part of this is also we are seeing the consequences of the rise of purity culture once again.
Yeah.
This is like the counting of days between people, like, oh, if you're 304, if you're 350 days older, you're just too much older. It's this sort of like picking apart of, there is this sort of way in which the current internet culture is become hyper fixated on objective purity regarding sexuality, and have put queer people have been basically put into the cross lines, more trans people than anyone, but like any kind of relationship is really under this like real scrutiny. And it is never ending is what it boils down to. Is it just this never ending like critical look at what it means? Like there's no way for us to have relationships that like function within those spaces. So like I just think it's really challenging to navigate that conversation in any kind of real way. That's, I don't know. I'm very frustrated by that whole thing because it's really unclear what the root cause of this is. I do know that a part of it is like youth culture, and there's a real obsession with pedophiles that has like captured the imagination of so many people that I'm not really sure how to navigate that. But I also think it's one of these things where it's like we are not responsible for this, and we should not be dealing with it.
I know,
Well,
but unfortunately.
And I think you have to go back to what Amanda was saying about biphobia, because I think there's a very large component of that. One of the I have read a ton of MM romance. I'm to kind of the point where I'm like, and I've read a ton of MM romance written by women, because that is the primary body of work there. And unfortunately, that biphobia takes its form in a lot of ways. One of the things that comes up is the bi man is always the top. He's always more sexually aggressive, because being a bi man makes you closer to a straight man.
Yep.
The gay man is always the bottom in the sexual dynamics, because that's where you get a lot of the skinning, right? Of this is really just a woman, but and generally you can tell that they haven't really thought it through too much, because they don't worry about where the legs go. But yeah,
I have something to say on that.
But yeah, the biphobia really comes through in the way that I'm going to proceed. So there's that sort of presets the bi man as more sexually aggressive, more sexually predatory. And unfortunately, in a lot of the MM romance I've read, there is a lot of internalized misogyny happening as well, because it comes down to, I want to see a man treat another man the way that men treat women.
Yep.
And so a lot of it's always interesting to analyze how straight people view us through the way that they write us. And I think I'm running out of steam, but on this thought. But
Madam Askew, you're full of steam. Go take the reins.
But there's this need to I get a lot of questions like, when are Adam and Vic gonna adopt a kid? Like, I don't think that's really something they would do, but there's this need for them to fit this heteronormative model.
Yes.
When
are the Reaper and the Warlock going to start raising
child is so I actually find that
like, look, David, I'm not going to tell you your business. I'm your reader and your friend. You are the author. I will follow you wherever you take Adam and Vic. I have followed you with them to some harrowing places and back again. But I gotta tell you, when I read them, I never go, these two should be dads.
Yeah,
I think these two are going to mentor some young people.
I feel like they're going to be uncles.
Right, they're going to be uncles, maybe.
They're a little. They got some stuff to work out, y'all.
I mean, even if they do, it just doesn't seem like something that, like, the big thing for me is that, like, when we're talking about these characters, about what they would want, some of these characters, like, it doesn't make sense for Shane or Ilya to want children either right now. Like, not now, and maybe not ever. They don't have the same kind of, like, their goals and their desires are not the same.
But a daughter named Puck, come on.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Right. Oh, a daughter named Puck. All right. Well, all right, David. All right.
I don't think general,
so I have to admit, I don't know Pillion. So, all right. So, and I want to talk about it because you both know about it, but also I'm going to put a pin in going back to Bookish because Tracy also mentioned that, and I'm obsessed with that show. So please, what is Pillion, and why should we be talking about it?
So Pillion, Alexander Skarsgård describes it as a dom-com. It is a romance movie, but in the context of a dom-sub relationship.
Okay.
So it stars
played by the guy who played Dudley in the Harry Potter
Harry
movie.
Melling. So it's Alexander Skarsgård and Harry Melling. It's really Harry Melling's character's story. He's basically just he's like I don't know what the British equivalent is, but he's like a meter maid, like a parking cop. And living just sort of a normal life. And then he meets Alexander Skarsgård and gets sort of inducted into this BDSM, like motorcycle culture. And it is I saw it last week, and any movie is going to be hard pressed to knock it out of my favorite movie of 2026 spot. It is so good.
It's supposed to be, my understanding, as a person who doesn't go to movie theaters that often, my understanding is that it's deeply romantic and some of the like phrases that the characters describe each other as. So there's a whole framework. There's a whole scene where one of the characters is like a side character is asking like, oh, you got that man to be your boyfriend? He's like, well, he's not my boyfriend. And he's like, well, how did you get that guy? And he's like, well, he says, why is he with you? And he says, I'm what is it? I
have an aptitude for devotion.
Aptitude for devotion, which it's very spicy, is my framework. I also think that it's a very more honest framework for BDSM as a culture.
The thing I really love about it, and there are some absolutely phenomenal interviews, like BJ Colangelo at Screen Rant did a wonderful interview with Harry Melling and Harry Lighton, who's the screenwriter and the director, talking about how this isn't a like BDSM 101 movie. Like you get dropped into it, and Alexander Skarsgård's character is really really sort of impenetrable, like because the audience is sort of experiencing the same way that Harry Melling's character does, and so this isn't like, there's of course been a lot of people who are like, well, you know, the consent isn't explicit, and it's like, yes, it is if you understand how this world works. You know,
I also think.
Go ahead.
Oh, you finished.
I was going to say there's several scenes that like are really key to BDSM relationships. Like you never see his character getting collared, right? Like you have all of their sort of introductory stuff, and then the next time you see him, he has a collar on. You don't see that collaring moment, but you don't need it in the context of the film.
And I think that I'm gonna pull away just because I want to make sure that Madame Askew has, because she has some thoughts, and I want to pull away from stuff that she doesn't have good context on.
You need to go see it. It's so good. Everyone should see it.
Yeah, this will be her next movie she can go and ruin a movie theater seat on.
You mean because I'm going to weep on the movie theater seat
and like so much?
I mean, you might. Like that's the thing. It is surprisingly romantic. It is surprisingly funny. You know, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's amazing. It's not. I think it's not what anyone thinks it is before they walk in. It's not what I thought it was. Certainly, it's so good.
I've seen Alexander Skarsgård promoting it, and I just did not connect the dots. But I knew he was promoting this new queer film and showing up places like confusing people who don't understand queerness, who are like, but he's wearing thigh-high leather boots, and I'm like, yes, he is. It's a gift for all of us. Thank you, Mr. Skarsgård. That's
nobody
so kind
cares
and
less
generous
about what anybody thinks than Alexander Skarsgård. Like that man is just living his best life at all times, and I want that for all of us.
Ilian is on my list of things that I can't watch until I've got some dates lined up.
I'm actually not sure I agree with that, having seen it.
Well, what I would say more of that is the longing would burn me from the inside out.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm a very susceptible to longing.
The longing would burn me from the inside out. The Grand Arbiter's biography.
That's not a lie. I wanted to change gears a little bit because we're reaching about the halfway point. I wanted to shift gears because I know that this is something that Madame Askew and I have been talking about a lot. What makes a great queer romance? And I think Madame has some real strong thoughts on this. So I wanted to start there. But I do know that this is like, we've been talking about like where it has been failed to be met, like where the fandom has not risen to the occasion and has dropped the ball a little bit. But I think it's really important for us to like really talk about what makes queer fiction, romantic fiction, desirable, attractive to queer people. We can talk all day long about how whether or not it's marketed to us correctly or if it's the right kind of thing. But like at least I know what great queer romance looks like to me. And so I think that understanding that is a really good place for us to start. Madam.
So, all right. You're right. I have very strong opinions on this. I have thrown more than one queer romance across the room for not actually being queer, if you will. Like that skinning thing that you talked about, David, is like the perfect way to talk about it. So one of the first things I look for is, do they have queer friends? Do they have friends? Do they have a community? Or are they in like this little bubble where they're like, it never touches me? Now, I don't mind that if it's in context of like your series, David, your fantasy series, where homophobia is just not an issue of the world. That does not bother me in that context. But there's this moment very early on in White Trash Warlock where our wonderful character Adam is like, gosh, I hope this guy is not going to like take me out into the parking lot and beat me up. And I'm like, yeah, that's very real, right? And so even though Adam doesn't have like scads of friends at that time in his life because he's like in this very complicated situation, he's developing his friends and his community as he goes, and he's never like out of context. So I want the context to be there. I want friends and acknowledgement of the real world to be part of the story, because I'm going to circle back a little bit to why I loved the show so much of Heated Rivalry. I like the books, but the show has this moment, especially in episode 3, when we get Francois having like a lot of screen time and you see the real struggle and also the importance of friends. I was like, oh, this is queer. This is very queer because they have friends. And their friends are like, what are you doing? Why are you sad? What's going on? Why does this man not want to be out of the closet? Is it worth it to be with a person who is making you be his dirty little secret? Like, this is important to be able to have those conversations and to acknowledge that the other part of every romantic relationship, if you're a queer person, is your friends. Right? So
the friends did a lot of heavy lifting in Heated Rivalry. I love all of them.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I think that also one thing to note is that I do think the tropes are different. Like the ones that are like queer, if you don't do a queer piece with queer tropes, it starts to like ring hollow, right? There is some like tropes to queer romance, and like, yep, I don't want every book to be a coming out book, but some books have to have that coming out book, right? Like there's a framework of like, there's some tropes you have to have sort of like, and how that coming out scene is handled is really indicative of like, is it going to ring hollow or is it going to ring to an experience?
Yeah.
Well, and I think Madam hits a really important point there, which is, you know, you see it so much with the way Hollywood handles black casting. Black casting happens in the spring, where they basically have got the show going and they've cast it. Like, oh, we need a black person, so they just take one white character and cast a black actor. We need diversity, and so you have the token, and that's generally what can happen with this problem of, you know, we're going to have that token queer, and they're going to be, you know, moving through the world in that isolated bubble, which you know, like in Adam's case, there's reasons he's isolated, and that whole moment with Tanner. The romance writer Nathan Bergeron talks about that. He calls it the shoulder check moment. It's like, oh, I want to hold his hand in public, but you know, and that's one of those things that are very coded. If you grew up with any kind of homophobia in your life, which most of us have, before you take your partner's hand in public or kiss them on the cheek, you're going to check over your shoulder. Is it safe? Is it okay? Yeah. And he's gotten a lot of flack for including that. It's like, oh, it takes me out of the fantasy. I'm like, but that's my experience. And that's one of those things for me that, that solidly rings true.
And it can be such a key component to the character as well. Like when one character does the shoulder check and the other doesn't, is like really powerful, because it's this framework of like, no, you are safe. We do not need to check right now. You are in community and you are safe with me, and we don't need to check. And I think that is like a really powerful moment that like, it's what this thing is like, pain is a part of queer life in the way that pain is part of all life. And to act as though pain is not part of life means that you can't get the pleasure of like that pain being solved, right? There is a sort of catharsis that exists in queer media that like is unique to queer media, because there is a sort of like romance stories always end on a happy ending, and they always end with like riding off in the sunset conceptually. And so that level of catharsis is not possible in real life. There will always be more fights, as mentioned by Jeff. Shout out to Jeff. These battles continue to happen, but there's this moment of like catharsis, and I know as a young queer person, I very am blessed. I'm so youthful. My millennial youth is showing. But there is something really powerful about, like, there's a lot of tragic queer movies that come out of the 90s and 80s, but there's also ones that are this sort of like melancholy air. Like I was like a big beautiful thing as my first gay movie experience, which, like, for those who've seen it, and if you haven't, it's like part of queer, like, do we need to send you the care package again? There's something really like that is not I would not call that movie a clean romance with a happy ending. It is a challenging movie with a lot of challenging components, and the ending is ambiguous. Mm-hmm. But there is catharsis through this idea that this is better than it was before. And I take great solace in that romance as a concept can allow folks to feel that their future is possible, mm-hmm. right?
Well, and I think you have to watch out too, because what happens is that melancholy or that the pain, as you mentioned, it can too often become the focus.
Yeah.
So when we first took White Trash Warlock out on submission, we had one editor come back and say, why isn't there more queer trauma? Why isn't there more gay trauma? Why isn't there more gay trauma?
More?
She wanted
more
she
than
wanted
being
more.
sent to a school? More than conversion therapy?
Well, let's be clear. The school was not about his gayness. It was about his magic. But
yes,
but there was obviously an analogy there. Anyway, I was really subtle with that one.
So subtle.
I'm such a subtle boy. But yeah, and that was the thing. Is like, I don't want to write that. I don't want to write, better books than me have it covered, than mine have it covered. But that was really frustrating because what she was saying was, I can't slot this book into the place I want it to go because it doesn't have exactly what Jeff's saying. It's true. It wasn't trauma porn. It's like, I want the trauma porn. On the other side of it is I've had people be like, well, why isn't the readership will sometimes come across my stuff because it's, it's there, but it's not romance. And so like, why isn't there graphic sex on the page? I'm like, I don't like this book. There's not graphic. I'm like, I'm not writing. This isn't a romance, certain fantasy. So there's this expectation of, if I'm writing a story about a gay man, it has to have either trauma porn or it has to have graphic sex, and I'm here for the titillation. And I find both of things very reductive. Like, I don't want to tell either of those stories unless I set out to tell that story.
I also think it creates this situation where it creates us as subjects, but not actors in our own lives. Like,
to be consumed.
Yeah, I think that is one of the bigger challenges of that framework. But to go, not to change just not to pull us back. We're going to pull back to things we like, things we're enjoying, things that are working.
So, I was going to say something much cheekier before we got into this very serious conversation. So let me go back to what I was going to say that was super cheeky. Is that one of the things I really love about queer romance stories written by actual queer people is they are so much more imaginative. Like, I need straight people to have more imagination, like, for the possibilities of all things, right? Not just how relationships look, but like what you can do in a bedroom, where the legs go, like all of those things. I just need straight authors to just work on their imagination, because like, you can just tell when you're reading a queer romance story written by a queer person, like queer lives are expansive, right? And that's like, our stories should also be expansive in every way.
Also, where are all the tall bottoms? There's a million of them.
That, man.
What are we going to do?
Yeah. Look, you need a pulley system and probably some sort of rope situation. I don't know. I'm a very short person, and I love a tall lady, and it's a problem. So, but talking about things we love, and also like imagination, I want to shout out to Baz Maddox and her wonderful queer dinosaur shifter series, because I did not.
I'm sorry. Did you say dinosaur shifter?
Yes.
I am in.
Yes.
I did. Dinosaur shifters who are timeless and come back and are living in the modern world after having been dinosaurs during the dinosaur era, and now they switch between dinosaur and human, and they date modern men, and there's a lot of jokes about cloacas, and it's very cheeky, and like they're frothy romances, and I love them. And the reason I know about them is because Lady June Squill introduced me to them, and so I'm forever grateful.
Our local Granny Fudoshi.
Lady June Squill, you have wonderful taste in books. Thank you for introducing me to so many fantastic ones. But that series in particular, I think it's very, like, it's light and frothy, and there's a lot of comedy, and while there are some moments that are heavy, it is mostly just this like very light thing. And Maz is a bisexual woman, and so she has a sense of like queer culture, and so because she's a part of the culture, she brings that knowledge to the story. So even though sometimes they're dinosaurs on the run with their side piece, I'm like, these are people who still have friends, right? But also, how often can I be like, say the phrase dinosaurs on the run with their side piece? Not very often. So thank you, Maz Maddox, for that gift. So that's one I like, just because it's so preposterous and silly and delightful and very charming.
That is so good. Yeah, I think my favorite, probably contemporary romance of the last few years is a book called Kiss Her Once for Me, which is like a Christmas romance. But I love it because it is this, sort of like slightly chaotic bisexual character who gets into a situation, like with an ex and the current all in the same house for Christmas, and it just is like, but it is so, there's something so tender about it, and something so it is like undeniably queer, but like I won't spoil it for anyone, but like the way the story resolves is so satisfying, but also so queer. It's so queer.
Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh.
I think it came out, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago now, probably, but
I posted the link.
On my list it goes. David, you are a source for me of many fine recommendations for books beyond your own, which I consume obsessively. I'm also the president of your fan club. This is like my life. It's a good life. I'm very happy with it. But you've always got some great recommendations, including your friend Barbara's books. Could you shout out a couple of things that you love, the queer romances, movies, books, what have you?
If you like my stuff, or if you want a kind of a sapphic flip on it, that's a little more romantic. Barbara Ann Wright is who Madam is referencing, and that's Wright, and she is a very close friend. She's a very good friend, but we became friends through writing stuff. And she's got about 20 of these books, and she's got fantasy, sci-fi, space opera. Start with the Pyramid Waltz. The Pyramid Waltz, she pretends to be a rakish princess romancing all the court ladies, but at night she's secretly Batwoman, protecting the crown from threats.
Batwoman?
So good.
It's fantastic. On the boy side, I recently got to blurb Caleb Dietrich's My Roommate from Hell. And Cale, one of the things I really like Cale is he's very high concept, but he writes these really interesting books that generally you're a new adult or the kind of the just coming of age experience at that point where you're really entering into adulthood. So the boy's off to college. It's his first experience at college. He gets assigned his dorm mate, and he thinks it's going to be, he's looking forward to all of it. He's so excited, except the dorm mate turns out to be a literal prince of hell who is allergic to shirts. So that's nice for everyone.
Is he literally allergic to shirts, or is it a comedic joke?
It's my phrase for the fact that the boy is always like half naked. There's a dumb fake dating plot that's lovely, and it was just such a fun ride. And he writes. Kale tends to also include like his horror book, his slasher book, The Pledge. The main character has survived a slasher attack, gets to college, joins a frat. Only in the slasher returns and begins killing off his frat bros. There's a lot of them though, so we have spares. But one of the things I really liked about that is that the character has a gay dad, and so the fact that he has a dad and a stepdad and a mom, and just again that kind of lovely, messy family queerness that we're all getting in these generations now. So again, Cale Dietrich with a C, so C-A-L-E Dietrich, lovely stuff. If you want something that's a little more literary and a little more dreamy, A Market of Dreams and Destiny by my friend Trip Gailey.
Oh, I've read that. That's so good.
Yeah, I got to blurb that one too. He's a good friend of mine. And that's a take on the Goblin Market in an alternate London. It's got this very nice literary stuff going on with it. And then back on the sapphic side, I just feel like not enough people know about Helen Corcoran. She wrote 2 YA novels, and I'm dying for her to get something else out. A Queen of Coin and Whispers. The Queen of Coin and Whispers, back when everyone was doing those titles, so don't hold the title against her. The Queen of Coin and Whispers and Daughter of Winter. My brain is fried. But look, Helen Corcoran. She's Irish, so the language is that, and it's just got this lovely. I love the way she handles it in Queen. The way it's a young queen who's inherited the throne. She's trying to save the kingdom from bankruptcy, and then she starts to fall for her new female spy master. And they start flirting through book club and pastries.
We're watching
Madame Goner.
This is like Madame Askew's she needs to be an A+ in this class, so she's taking lots of notes.
And then someone whose book I actually sent to Adam a while back is C.S. Poe. Now she's done a ton of mysteries and stuff, including some really gritty stuff with Gregory Ash, who they write together. He writes really gritty stuff, and he has a cute cozy mystery series too, The Last Picks. But my favorite C.S. Poe series is the one she's not writing right now, which I get to tell her at Coastal Magic next week and yell at her, which is her Steam and Magic series. She's got 3 volumes out in that. The first one is just a novella, The Engineer. It is lovely. Like, it's late 1800s, New York, Wild Wild West. It's the hot outlaw with the
Madame Askew's adding it to she's crossing somebody off the book club list and adding it to
our book club reading list this year. We're reading C.S. Poe's The Engineer this year.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very excited.
And C.S. Poe, what I love about her, which I think Amanda will like too, is she's such a freaking history nerd. So her research is just any one of her books. They're all set in New York. She does incredible research. So definitely check her stuff out.
Excellent. Well, it's wonderful bit of serendipity that for once I can be like, we're reading that for our steampunk book club. Actually, it's on our list. Thank you, David. Yeah, wonderful. I'm very excited. I'm even more excited. I was already excited, but so
you're extra excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And Tracy says, wait, I missed the Goblin Market author. Please remind us, was that
A Market of Dreams and Destiny?
A Market of Dreams and Destiny, Trip Gailey, Gailey. Sorry, Trip. It's like 2 a.m. in London, or I text him.
Google will save us. It's fine.
I found it.
I think it's gale like wind.
Yeah,
I
I only
found it.
talk to him every day. It's
You don't know how to spell your best friend's last name.
By the by, everyone, I will try to actually grab all of these books and put them into a list in a proper place with the links so you can more easily capture them. I know it's not always easy to do in the midst of the live stream. So, but
Sorry.
Oh no, you.
I got all excited because I just remembered he's doing a Kickstarter for his latest thing. It's about to kick off, and that.
Well, I just posted a link to his website, so it will likely be in there.
Nice.
He will be grateful. It looks.
Okay.
This one looks really, really cool. This project. So, God, sorry.
I'm excited. No, I'm gonna have to read it, and now I'll probably have to be like, so, Mr. Gailey, I don't know you, but I know David R. Slayton. Do you want to come do an interview? Because I'm now obsessed with your book. This is the way queerness happens, right?
I'm sure I can talk him into it for you if you have problems.
I mean, I don't think Madame Askew needs that much help. I don't know what it is about her and authors, but she thinks that she's constantly like having to bat them away, and then pretends like she's like, oh, I don't know why they like me.
Say that? I'd never say that, Grand Arbiter. I say, I'm so happy they like me because I don't know why they would like someone so demure and obsessed with tea.
Totally
I
normal.
don't know.
You're totally normal.
Madame Askew is good with the cold email. That's how she got me the first time. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Grand Arbiter, we've shared ours. So what is something you're really enjoying right now?
Okay. So underprepared, obviously. As always, I focus on comic books because I'm an absolute comic monster. I cannot stop pushing Muted on everyone. So Muted is a sapphic romance about a girl who secretly has 2 magical bloodlines. And her trying to navigate that while falling in love with a fellow magic user and a demon she summoned.
Like you do.
Sounds delightful.
And it's all about ending family cycles of trauma and cruelty and finding love. And that's nice. And then on the it's not it's romance-esque. I think that's the best way I could describe it. Romance-esque. It's I'm a big fan of Cinderella Boy. Is a really cute little romance, which is about a boy who dreams of being a pop star who gets pulled into a conspiracy involving magic keys that let you become characters in books. And by playing out their stories, you can collect the ability to gain a wish. But he has fallen for another person who has the villainess key. So it's very exciting. But it's very cute.
That's adorable.
And then I can't stop reading Nevermore. It's a tragic Yuri to the extreme. Characters they've found themselves in the world between life and death, and they both are they were lovers in the past, but one knows the end of their story and one knows the beginning of their story, and they're trying to meet in the middle. And there's drama, and one of them wears riding boots and dresses very mask all the time, and she looks really hot. And the other one dresses like a bride all the time. It's like a very femme mask vibe, but it's very good. It has a really cool magic system where they manifest as stereotypical ghosts of different varieties.
Oh, that's cool.
Their powers. So one of the characters becomes the bride as the ghost bride as her power. It's very cool. Big fan. The art is stunning. Absolutely incredible art. Yes. But those are the ones that I'm really into. I I am very into all of these dumb things that are great. Comic books are great. The lesson is that comic books
I
are
love
great.
comic books. This is just a small fraction of my collection.
There's another one called, oh gosh, what's the title? I will think on it, but it's basically it's about a gardener who can speak to the dead. Who basically is trying to is falling in basically it's a medium who falls in love with a gardener. It's very good. I will pull the title when I find it because again, unfortunately, I loaned it to an ex and then it left my house never to return.
Oh no! I hate that.
I hate that. That's why I no longer lend books.
I don't lend. I just buy. I'll gift it before I'll lend it.
Yes, yeah, no. I buy extra secondhand copies of books I really love, so that I can just give them and be like, here, you need to read this.
Yeah,
so if you've been locally and you're like, I can never find David's books at Bookman's, I'm the problem. I'm sorry. I've been buying them all to give them to people. Yeah. So speaking of bookish things, I do want to put in a little bit of love for the show Bookish, which is from the BBC, and it is set right after World War II. Tracy asked about that show. I don't know that we're going to get very far into it, Tracy, but I must say I love it. It is about a lavender marriage and a mystery solver who owns a bookstore, and his name is Book, Mr. Book's bookstore. It's like a little bit poignant. It's a little, there's going to be some heartstring pulling. It's not as I would say, we don't know yet how happy this is going to be. It's not an unalloyed show, but it feels very right about how they are navigating this. And the actor who's playing Book is himself a queer man. And I feel like he's really championed this show. So I'm very much enjoying it. I recommend it to anyone who likes period pieces and doesn't mind a little bit of sorrow, or in fact you're looking to have your heartstrings pulled a little bit, because sometimes you want that sort of thing, right?
You do. Sometimes you need your heartstrings plucked a little bit. So
yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. I've heard good things, but I haven't seen any of it.
No, and the costumes, I mean, this is a very I make costumes kind of reaction, but the costumes are quite good. I particularly love the menswear, which I am currently obsessed with, as the Grand Arbiter has given me carte blanche to send him recommendations for clothes recently. And so
I determined that after reviewing reviewing our next challenging few years, I was like, well, this trip needs a fashion budget. And so now we're going in, as I keep saying it because I think it's the funniest thing in the world. While the WestCon is ending, and in our grief, Madame Askew and I are running to Europe to find ourselves.
Yes, I approve. Yes. I completely approve.
I think that's a great plan.
David, I don't know if I'll come back from Europe the way you came back from Greece and write an epic fantasy, but who knows? Or maybe I'll just write some tea reviews when we get back.
I think what will happen is we will find the ways to love ourselves again is the lesson. Yeah. And I think that's the greatest romance that queerness can provide is because I do think that one thing that I think that's magical about queer romance that's unique is that so much about queer romance is about not just finding love, but finding ways to love oneself once more. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's not necessarily unique to queer romance, but it is necessary for good queer romance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's true.
I'd like to add another little thing that occurs to me, and especially in this context of getting to be here. Honestly, I do feel deeply privileged that I get to know you, Amanda, and you, David, and that through the wonderful vehicle of this weird world of the internet and making art and being queer people, that I get to know you, because that is the other piece of all queer romance is that we are not in a vacuum, and that we get to have love affairs with our friends in ways that sometimes hetero culture does not feel you can be friends with different genders, right? But in queer spaces, that sort of like blown up. You're friends with whoever you're friends with, and I really love that aspect of queer romance and queer stories, that our friends are always part of the journey. So
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. So, David, any closing thoughts now that I've been very saccharine, as is my wont?
I don't know if I have anything, but yeah, I agree with that. I think that the found family aspect is what makes so many of these stories so important to me, and being able to write that. I didn't know that I wrote the heroine's journey until I took Gail's course on it. I'm like, oh, that's what I write. But it's funny how all of my characters slowly build this found family of people around them that allows them to heal and grow.
Yeah, I mean that's such a particularly queer experience, especially because so many of us have difficult, if non-existent, relationships with our families of origin that we just are sort of forced to build our own in many cases.
I don't mean to, but I often have to accidentally rub my very well-adjusted family in Madame Askew's face.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty lucky. Like my dad is remarkably well adjusted for being a 80-year-old former Navy SEAL. My dad is remarkably curious and open-minded.
Okay, so we're gonna do two more things before we close. So first, plug your business.
Yes.
What should people do to support you, Amanda?
Follow me on any platform at Yesterqueers.
Great.
It is so worth your time. I highly recommend it.
Excellent.
If you're in LA and already got tickets, then you maybe get to see Amanda's very special event tomorrow.
Live and in person at the Burbank Library. I mean, if you don't have tickets, like it might be worth it to show up anyway because it's a library and they probably won't turn you away. But
just
yeah, we're gonna read some queer love letters.
David, how can people support you? What do you want to plug?
One thing I'd really like to call out is Rogue Community College, because I don't know if enough people caught this book. It is really out on binder 3.5.
I did miss the window on that one, so I do have to catch up on that one.
Rogue Community College came out on late 2024, and it is my lovely, it's got all sorts of different kinds of queerness and different kinds of stories and characters. It's my magical school book. And what I love the most about it is it's not a school for, magic schools are always elites and chosen ones, and this one's for everybody. It's a magical community college with an awesome technopath trans librarian and a black girl who does magic through mathematics and just some cool stuff. So I'm working on it. Trust me, it's out there. A pitch is out there for book 2 would be called Magic Murder Mystery School.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please. Where do I need to send a letter?
I'm ready to write letters on your behalf, David. Also, I know I'm biased, but I liked your books before I liked you, and which sounds weird, but I met you after I fell in love with your books. Your books brought me to the point where I got to meet you. And so now I'm true blue, but your books, Rogue Community College, I felt was very for me in a particular, you didn't write it for me, but it hit me in my heart in a particular way. So I really love it dearly, and I want more magical community college, honestly.
Okay. Madame Askew, do you have anything you want to plug?
So I mean, we did this. This was very cool. And on Sunday, we're doing book chat at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, and we are discussing Rust in the Root by Justina Ireland, which turns out is a queer story. So please come discuss it with me. It's such a wonderful book. And then next week, I'm doing an interview on Saturday with the delightful Jess Pride, who released a fantastic anthology recently about Black romance and is an incredible champion of romance and just an absolute delight. So come join me for that. And Grand Arbiter, aren't we doing our like weird award show thing? Isn't that coming up? Maybe you want to talk about our weird award show with a budget of $0, but we don't need permission because we're going to give people awards.
Yeah.
See if we don't.
So we do have our 2025 Golden Tippy Awards show. Starts on Friday at the normal time and will go for a set number of hours. I'm hoping to, but you never know.
The Golden Globes.
I can't really count on that. Importantly, though, our important challenge, the book of the year is currently tied. We are keeping the polls open for an extended period. But if you do not break the tie, Madame Askew and I will have to call on dark gods to make that decision. So please don't make us, and make sure you vote for your favorite book from book club, or I will light myself on fire.
Oh no, don't do that.
You're
I
not
choose.
finding enough.
I can't choose. I love all the books. We ask you to vote, so I don't have to choose.
It's a dead heat for 5 titles. We have
Oh my
5
God.
titles tied.
Gosh,
So
a
we
five-way
need folks
tie.
to contribute to this vote. I don't know if Babushka Askew is coming. We used a lot of dark magic last time. I don't know if she's going to make it. We'll see what happens. If you beg, here's the thing. At a certain point, I'm just going to have to make a donation fund. This is the amount of money that you need to bring Babushka back for this outside of standard procedures. I'm going to do that. If that's the vibe, if the vibe is Babushka Askew must return. The link that I posted is the voting location to vote on on the book for book club. So if you read any of these books, even if you didn't read them with book club, even if you just think that they're great, just feel free to respond to the thing and vote. I see that you already are. It's still tied. Please don't leave me hanging. I still see that it's tied. I'm watching them come in. So make sure that you're voting. If you give me a tied vote, I am going to light myself on fire. It's going to be really unpleasant. I don't want to. Second of all, we are prepping for, please make sure that you attend. This is a special awards show to really celebrate some great artists, creators of our community, as well as authors. So please, this is sort of like, we have determined that this is the year of the community service shrew. So people have done amazing work in 2025 to make our community better. And this is your time to celebrate them. So please join us at 6:30 Pacific here, where we are right now, so that Madame Askew and I do not have to raise the roof quite all on our own. We will do it. We will raise the spirits of, I will become a medium so powerful that I will raise all the dead. But
oh dear,
keep that in mind. Okay, our final activity before we close, because I am very generous and very kind and have extended our time in a way that Madame Askew is shocked and appalled by. Not appalled, shocked by. Madame Askew, everyone, I'm going to give you an opportunity to tell us what your favorite romance trope is.
Oh,
so your favorite romance trope, the one that you get to, that you're obsessed with, that you're really into. I'm into not enemies to lovers, but I am into rivals. I think that's kind of fun. But I also am a big fan of sort of the meet cute, which is all the papers in the air. I'm still a big fan of.
Oh, that's a good one. I always answer this question that is found family. But the truth is, I really love second chance romance, and I blame Persuasion and Jane Austen because it is like catnip. I love it so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Amanda?
I do love enemies to lovers, but and I also love second chance, but I love them in forced proximity.
Ooh,
Like trapped
only
in a
one
snowstorm.
bed.
Yeah, I love the not even the only one bed, but just like, you know, we're in a sham marriage and now we're locked in this house. Like you see that a lot in like mafia romance, you know. And I
Oh
just
yeah,
I love, like,
you really.
I hate you and we're stuck together.
Okay.
I love a grumpy sunshine. I'm all about a grumpy.
Oh, yeah.
The only
isn't that
the
kind
only
of your
romance-
real life?
yeah, kind of. The only romance I've ever published was To Catch a Geek was a grumpy sunshine, and I just love
Oh.
So
I
good.
do know Gail's, and I'm sort of a big fan of Gail's favorite as well, which is external morality, external moral compass.
So good. Look, we could clearly go on forever, but that would be unkind because we must release David and Amanda back out into the world. We cannot hold them here forever with us in the internet box.
I
Amanda
mean-
has an event tomorrow morning,
Yeah.
after all. So,
But we can do this more often than we have, and we would love to invite you again, both of you again. So just know that your inboxes may just wait 2 months. You'll probably hear from us in April. Just hope that's chill. We'll talk about something else. We'll talk about the fools that we are. That what makes us foolish as queer people on April Fool's Day. I don't know. It'll be great. Thank you so much, Amanda and David, for joining us today. And thank you, everyone who's been so rambunctious in the comments. I know we weren't quite as like engaging with you this week, but I really appreciate you just giving us the time to really dive into some of these concepts. And if this is something you enjoyed, you can join us on our Discord to continue the conversation with your fellow viewers on our Discord. Additionally, if you're like the Grand Arbiter, Madame Askew, you clearly are out of tea and have no money. You can join us on Patreon to ensure that we don't die of starvation or dehydration.
Or
Which is
lack of-
always a kind thing to do to gay people, to ensure they don't die.
thank you. Thank
And
you.
with that-
And please pre-order David's books. Follow Amanda in all the places at Yesterqueers. I'm the president of their fan club, and so it's I have to say that it's part of my job.
It's
Yes,
true, and it's
so,
part of your job.
Madam, it's time for you to do your releasing business.
Yes. So as we say goodnight and we release our friends back into the aether where they reside, I want to remind all of you how important it is now more than ever to treasure yourselves as we treasure you, because you are irreplaceable, and we cannot have tea time with you if you do not take very good care of yourselves. So please wash your hands, wear a mask when you need to, get those vitamins and minerals, get your vaccines and boosters. We believe in science
can.
here. Wear a caftan wherever you want for any reason. No one is stopping you. There's no way. You cannot be contained. Get that great tiara. Go to the produce section. Maybe you'll have your meat cute there over the tomatoes. Who knows? You can't make it happen if you don't take care of yourselves. So, darlings, we will see you next time. We'll see you Friday for award season. Thank you all for being here. You are perfect angels. Grand Arbiter, would you like to send us out into the universe?
Stay hot, everybody. It's going to be a cold fucking winter. Bye, everybody. David and Amanda, don't leave, but everybody else has to leave.
We're being held after class.